The silence stretches between a thick and heavy. You can feel it, can't you? That weight pressing down, feeling the space with unspoken words we're all carrying. The burden of things left unsaid, of emotion swallowed down, of truth we're too afraid to face. But what if I told you that very thing you've been taught to fear, to avoid at all, could be the most powerful tool you possess? What if the key to unlocking your full potential, to healing your deepest wounds, to transforming your relationships in your very life, was not in finding the perfect words, but in embracing the power of saying nothing at all? It sounds counterintuitive, doesn't? We live in a world of noise, of constant chatter, of voices clamoring to be heard above the din. We're taught from a young age that to be silent is to be weak, to be passive, to let others walk all over. Speak up. Make yourself heard. Don't let them get away with it. But today, I want to challenge everything you think you know about the nature of true strength. I want to show you how your silence can break them in ways anger never could. In the process, free you from the chains that have been holding you back. Think back to the last time you were truly angry. I mean, the kind of anger that burns in your chest, that makes your hands shake, that is words of rage and hurt bubbling up your throat like, what did you do with that ang? Did you lash out, spewing those molten words at whoever was unlucky enough to be in your? Did you scream and yell and slam doors? Did you fire off that heated text or email? Fingers flying across the keys is you. Unleash your fury. And how did that work out for you? Maybe in the moment, it felt good, cathartic, like finally releasing the pressure that'd been building inside you. But what about after, when the red haze of anger cleared and you were left to survey the record? The relationship is damaged sometimes, beyond repair. The words you can never take back. No matter how much you might wish to, the shame and regret that settled in your stomach like a lead weight. You see, anger is like a wildfire. It burns hot and fast, consuming everything in its path. But when it's done, it leaves nothing but ashes and scorched earth behind. And rebuilding from that, well, that's a long and painful process, isn't it? But silence is different. Silence is the deep, still waters that can wear away even the hardest stone given enough. Silence is the pause between the lightning, seeing in the thunder, pregnant with possibility. Silence is the space where true change can take root and grow. When you choose silence, what's in the face of provocation when you refuse to engage with toxicity? When you stand firm in your own truth, without feeling the need to defend or explain yourself. That's when you tap into a wellspring of power that most people never even realize. I can see some of you shifting uncomfortably in your seat. The idea of embracing silence goes against everything society has conditioned us to believe. We're taught that silence equals accept, that if we don't speak up, we're letting injustice win, and there's truth to that. There absolutely are times when our voices need to be heard, when silence in the face of genuine wrongs is a form of complicity. But that's not the kind of silence I'm talking about here. I'm talking about the conscious choice to step back from unnecessary conflict. The wisdom to know when words will only add fuel to the fire. The strength it takes to hold your peace. Even when every fiber of your being is screaming to lash out. Let me paint a picture for you. There's a colleague at work who's always trying to undermine you. They spread rumors, take credit for your ideas, and generally make your life miserable. Your first instinct is probably to confront them, right? Call them out in front of everyone to give them a piece of your mind and put them in their place once. But what if, instead, you chose silence? What if you continue to do your work with excellence, to treat that person with professional courtesy, but refuse to engage with their drama? No defensive explanations, no angry outbursts, no stooping to their level, just a unshakable silence that speaks volume. What do you think would, at first they might push harder, trying to provoke a real, but as time goes on, as your silence remains unbroken, can something interesting starts to occur? That silence becomes a mirror, forcing them to confront their own behavior, without your anger to justify, without your engagement. Turn it to feed their drama. They are left facing the truth of who they are and what they're doing. And that, my friends, is far more uncomfortable than any angry words you could hurl their way. Your silence creates a void that they have to fill. And in doing so, they often expose themselves far more effectively than you ever could. But it's not just about dealing with difficult people. The power of silence goes so much deeper than that. It's about creating space in your own life for reflection, for growth. Small voice inside you that so often gets drowned out by the noise of the world. When is the last time you sat in true silence? No phone, no TV, no music, no distractions, just you and your thoughts. For many of us, the very idea is we fill every moment with noise. That's because we're afraid of what we might hear in the still. But it's in that silence that we find our truest. It's in the quiet moments that we can finally hear the whispers of our hearts. The dreams we've pushed aside are the truth we've been avoiding. Silence is the fertile soil where self-awareness takes root and begins to grow. And let me tell you, true self-awareness is one of the most powerful forces in the universe. When you really know yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, your deepest desires and fears, you become unshakable. The opinions of others lose their power over you. The need for constant validation phase that guides you true, no matter what storms may rage around you. But that kind of self-awareness, it only comes through still. Do those moments when you dare to be still, to turn inward, to face yourself with honesty. I want you to try something with me right now. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes if you're comfortable doing so. And for just 30 seconds, be completely still. Don't try to clear your mind or achieve some perfect meditative state. Just be present with whatever thoughts and feelings are. That 30 seconds of silence. Now open your eyes. What you notice in that brief moment of still. What thoughts bubble to the surface? What feelings made themselves known? For some of you, it might have been uncalm. You might have felt an urge to fidget, to reach for your phone, to break the silence in some way. That discomfort, that's where the real growth. That's the edge of your comfort zone, the place where transformation becomes possible. And the more you practice sitting with that discomfort, the more you embrace those moments of silence, the stronger you become. Because here's the truth. The ability to be still, to be still in the face of provocation or uncertainty or fear, is not weakness. It's one of the greatest strengths a person can possess. Think about the people you admire most in your life. The ones who exude a sense of inner. I bet if you watch them closely, you'll notice that they are often the ones who speak they don't feel the need to fill every silence. Do you have an opinion on to constantly assert themselves? They have a quiet strength that draws others to them. That's the kind of strength I want for each and every one of you. The kind of strength that comes from knowing yourself so deeply that external validation becomes the kind of strength that allows you to stand firm in your truth without having to convince anyone else. The kind of strength that breaks through walls and transforms lives. not through force or anger, but through the power of silence. As we delve deeper into this journey of understanding the power of silence, let's explore how it can transform not just our external relationships, but our relationship with you see, many of us have an inner critic, that nagging voice, is that constantly points out our flaw, remind us of our failures, tell us we're not good enough. And how do we usually respond to that voice? We argue with it. We try to shout it down with positive affirmations or drown it out with distractions. But what if instead we met that? What if the next time the voice pipes up telling you, that's smart enough or attractive enough or successful enough, you simply didn't engage. You didn't argue. You didn't try to prove it wrong. You just observed it with quiet curiosity. It's a powerful shift, isn't it? Because when you stop feeding that negative inner dialogue with your attention and emotional energy, it starts to lose its power over you. Your silence creates space for a new kind of self-talk to emerge. One rooted in compassion and understanding rather than judgment and criticism. This internal practice of non-engagement with our own negative thoughts is the foundation for true self-love, and it's from this place of inner quiet that we can start to hear the spurs of our authentic selves, the part of us that knows our true worth beyond any external measures of is a success or failure. But let's be clear, embracing silence doesn't mean becoming a doormat. But doesn't mean letting people walk all over you or be quiet in the face of there's a world of difference between reactive silence born of fear or and the proactive silence that comes from a place of inner strength and whiz. I think about a mighty oak tree. When the storm comes, does the oak argue with does it try to fight against the rain? It stands strong and silent, letting the storm rage around it. Its silence is not weakness. It's the very source of its strength and longevity. You have that same strength within you. The ability to stand firm in weather the storms of life without being uprooted. To maintain your inner peace, even when chaos swirls around you. But accessing that strength requires the courage to embrace silence. Even when everything in you is screaming to react, let's talk about how this plays out. How many arguments have you had that spiraled out of control where hurtful words can never be taken back? How many times have you said something in the heat of the moment that you immediately regretted? Now imagine if the next time you felt that anger rising, that urge to lash out, you chose still, not a cold, stony silence that builds walls, but a warm, open sill. What's the create space? Space for your own emotions, space for the other person to reflect on their words and actions, space for understanding to grow. This kind of silence can be transformative. And even the most challenging relationship, it breaks the cycle of reactivity that keeps us trapped in old pattern. It allows us to respond from a place of wisdom rather than reacting from a place of hurt or anger. I once knew a man who had a very difficult relationship with his father. Years of misunderstandings, things and hurt feelings had created a wall between them that seemed insurmountable. Every conversation ended in an argument, with both of them retreating to their corners, more convinced than ever that the other didn't understand or care. But then, this man decided to try something different. The next time his father started in on one of his usual criticisms, instead of defending himself or counterattacking, he simply listened in silence. He didn't agree. He didn't argue. He just created space for his father. And you know what happened. At first, his father got even more worked up, pushing harder for a reaction. But as the silence content, something shifted. The anger in his father's voice began to fade, replaced by a note of uncertainty. And then for the first time in years, his father began to really talk. Not to criticize but to share the fears and insecurities that had been driving his behavior all along. That moment of silence broke through years of built-up resentment and misunderstanding. It created an opening for real communication and healing to begin. And it all started with a choice to respond with silence rather than anger. Now I want to be clear. This isn't about suppressing your emotions or denying your own needs. Silence isn't about swallowing your pain or pretending everything is okay when it's not. True, powerful silence comes from a place of self-awareness, an inner strength. It's about choosing not to react externally while you process intern. This kind of silence requires tremendous courage. It's so much easier to lash out, to let our hurt and anger spill out onto others. Choosing silence means sitting with those uncomfortable feeling them fully without immediately acting. It means trusting that you can handle whatever comes without needing to control or manipulate the situation. But the rewards of this practice are immeasurable. When you master the art of silence, you become unshakable. The drama and chaos that consumed so many people's lives no longer have the same power over you. You develop a deep well of inner peace that sustains you through life. More, your relationship. Let's begin to transform. People naturally drawn to those who exude calm and inner. Your silence creates a safe space for others to be vulnerable, to share their true selves without fear of judgment or reaction. You become a port in the storm, has steady presence that others can rely on. This ripple effect extends far beyond your personal. In a world that's constantly shouting, a person who knows the power of silence stands, and you're a professional life. This quality sets you apart as a leader. It allows you to make decisions from a place of clarity, rather than being swayed by the loudest voice in the room. Imagine walking into a high, feeling that flutter of nerves. But instead of letting anxiety drive you to overspeak or second-guess yourself, you anchor into that place of inner still. You listen deeply. You observe carefully. And when you do speak, your words carry the power of thought, consideration. This is the kind of distance that changes the energy of a room. It's the hallmark of true leadership. Not the kind that's given by title or position, but the kind that's earned through character and wisdom. The cultivating this kind of powerful silence isn't easy. We live in a world that's constantly demanding our attention, our opinion, our engagement. Social media, our news cycles, the pressure to always be on. It all conspires to keep us in a state of constant mental chatter and reactivity. Breaking free from that takes conscious effort and practice. It requires us to get comfortable with discomfort, to resist the urge for immediate gratification or valid. It means being willing to sit with uncertainty, tell that situations unfold without always trying to control the outcome. So how do we begin? How do we cultivate this life-changing power of silence in our everyday life? It starts with small moments. The next time you feel the urge to offer an unsolicited opinion, the next time someone criticizes you and you feel that need to defend yourself, take a deep breath instead. Create tiny pockets of silence. A few minutes in the morning, before you check your phone. A moment of quiet reflection before you respond to that challenging email. Pay attention to your trig. Those situations or people that tend to provoke an immediate, oft unproductive reaction. These are your greatest opportunities for growth. Each time you choose silence over knee-jerk reactivity, you're building new neural pathways. You're training yourself to respond from a place of inner strength, rather than external provoke. As we continue to explore the transformative power of SIL, let's delve into how it can reshape our perception of success. What's end failure? In our achievement-oriented culture, we're conditioned to equate noise with progress. The person talking the loudest making, the boldest CL, or constantly showcasing their accomplishments is often perceived as the most successful. But true success, the kind that brings lasting fulfillment and positive, often grows in silence. Think about nature for a moment. Amadio doesn't grow overnight with fanfare and firework. It grows slowly, steadily. Play in the quiet of the forest. Each ring in his trunk represents a year of silent growth, unseen, but inevitably pushing the tree higher and stronger. Your personal growth follows a similar pattern. The most profound changes in your life don't happen in the spotlight. They happen in those quiet moments of reflection, in the daily choices you make when no one is watching, in the silent commitment to your values and goals. Except for the last time you experienced a significant personal breakthrough. Maybe you finally broke a bad habit or gained the new understanding that changed your perspective on life. Did that breakthrough come from external noise and chaos? Or did it emerge from a moment of quiet insight, a silent realization that shifted everything? This silent growth applies to our professional lives as well. The most effective leaders aren't always the ones making the most noise. They're the ones who listen more than they, who observed carefully before, who create space for others to shine rather than always seeking the spotlight for them. There's a story about a CEO who was known for his unusual interview technique. Instead of pepper, he would sit in SIL, what sometimes for several minutes, after asking a single, thought-provoking. Many candidates found this silence unbearable. They would rush to fill, often revealing far more about themselves than the in. But the candidates who truly impressed the CEO were the ones who could sit comfortably in that SIL, the ones who took time to think deeply before responding, who weren't afraid of applause. These were the people he knew could handle the pressures of leadership, who wouldn't be rattled by high-stakes situ or rushed into poor decisions, understood a fundamental truth. Our relationship with silence often reflects our relationship with ourselves. Those who are uncomfortable with SIL, who feel compelled to fill every moment with noise or activity, are off and running from something within them. But those who can embrace silence have a level of self-assurance and inner that's invaluable in both personal and professional settings. Now, I want you to reflect on your own relationship with silence. How do you feel when there's a loving conversation? Do you rush to fill? Or can you sit comfortably in that space? When you're alone, do you immediately reach for some form of distraction? The TV, your phone, music? Or can you be at peace with your own thoughts? Your answers to these questions can reveal a lot about If the idea of silence makes you uncomfortable, if you find yourself constantly seeking noise and distraction, it might be time to ask yourself why. What are you afraid you might hear on the SIL? What trees are you trying to avoid? This discomfort with silence when stems from a deeper discomfort with ourselves. We fill our lives with noise to drown out our own insecurities, doubts, and fears. But in doing so, we also drown out our intuition, our creativity, our deepest wisdom. We miss out on the profound insights and grow that can only come from quiet reflection. The good news is, like any skill, getting comfortable with silence is something you can practice and improve. Start small. Try spending just 5 minutes a day and complete still. No TV, no music, just you and your thoughts. At first it might feel uncomfortable, excruciating. Your mind might race filled with all the thoughts and worries you usually. Keep at bay with calm. Stimul, but stick with it. As you practice, you'll start to notice a shift. The mental chatter will begin to quiet down. You'll start to distinguish between the superficial noise of your busy mind and the deeper wisdom of your intuition. You'll begin to access parts of yourself that have been drowned out by the constant noise of daily life. This practice of since can become a powerful tool for decision-making and problem when faced with a difficult choice or complex problem. Our instinct is often to seek out more information, more opinions, more noise. But sometimes the best thing we can do is create space for silence. In that silence, free from the influence of others' opinions or the pressure to come up with an immediate solution, our minds can work in remarkable ways. Solutions bubble up from our subconscious. We see connections we missed before, which happen to a deeper wisdom that goes beyond logical, and this is why some of the world's most successful people, from CEOs to artists to scientists, prioritize. Set timer for silent reflection. They understand that breakthrough ideas and innovative solutions often emerge not from more information or but from creating space for insight too. But the benefits of embracing silence go far beyond in what's creativity and decision. When you learn to be comfortable with silence, you develop a remarkable kind of freedom. You're no longer at the mercy of external stimulus. You don't need constant validation or distraction to feel okay. You become self-contained, drawing strength and contentment from within. This inner strength is palpable to it changes how people perceive and interact with. When you're no longer reacting to every provocation, when you can maintain your calm in the face of chaos. You become a pillar of strength that others naturally gravitate towards. In your personal relationships, quality is invaluable. It allows you to be fully present with your loved ones, to listen deeply without always feeling the need to offer advice or solutions in moments of conflict. Your ability to pause, to create space instead of immediately reacting, can be the difference between a conversation that devolves into argument and one that it's a deeper understanding. And in your professional life, this silence born sets you apart as a leader. It allows you to stay centered in high-pressure situations, to make decisions based on wisdom rather than reactivity. Your words carry more weight because you speak not from a need to fill still, but from a place of careful consideration. But perhaps the most profound impact of embracing silence is on your relationship with yourself. As you become comfortable with silence, you start to peel away the layers of social condition, external expectations, and self-imposed limitations that have been shaping your behavior and beliefs. In the silence, you begin to hear your own voice more clearly, not the voice of your fears or your ego. Richer, true voice, the one that knows your deepest values and deeds. What's the difference between the goals that truly resonate with your authentic self and those you've adopted because of external pressures or societal expect? The self-awareness is the foundation of true confidence. What's in self-assurance? When you know who you are at your core, When you're in touch with your own inner wisdom, you become much less susceptible to manipulation or peer pressure. You don't need others' approval to feel worthy. You can stand firm in your convictions, even when they go against the crow. Moreover, this deep self-knowledge allows you to be more authentic in your interaction. You don't need to put on a facade, pretend to be someone you're not. You can show up as your true self, vulnerabilities and all, knowing your worth is determined by other. This authenticity, born of silence and self-reflection, is magnet. In a world full of people trying to be what they think others want them to be, someone who is genuinely, unapologetically themselves stands out. This is the kind of authenticity that builds deep, meaningful connection. It's what allows you to be a true friend, a supportive partner, and inspiring as we draw this journey to I want you to take a moment to reflect on everything we've explored together. The power of SIL is a transform conflict to deepen self-awareness, to enhance leadership, to foster authentic connection. This isn't just abstract theory. It's practical, powerful tool that you can start using immediately to change your life. Remember, embracing silence doesn't mean becoming passive or withdrawing from life. It's about engaging more fully, more authentically, from a place of inner strength and ease. It's about choosing your responses rather than being at the mercy of your reaction. Every time you pause before speaking, every time you choose not to engage with drama or negativity, every time you sit in quiet reflection instead of seeking distraction, superpower, you're breaking path that no longer serve you and creating space for more empowering ways of being. This journey isn't always easy. There will be times when the urge to react, to defend, to feel the silence will feel overwhelming. In those moments, remember, your silence is not weakness. It's the ultimate demonstration of strength. It's you choosing to break cycles of negativity, to rise above petty conflicts, to be the change you wish to see in the world. Your silence has the power to heal wounds, both your own and others. It has the power to diffuse conflicts that no amount of arguing could resolve. It has the power how to create space for real understanding and directions to flower. In the world that's constantly shouting, you're calm. Sender presence will be you'll find that people are drawn to you, seeking the peace and strength you emanate. You'll become a force for positive change in your family, your work, your community, not through forceful action, but through the power of your. As you leave here today, I challenge. Find one opportunity each day to choose silence over reaction. It might be biting back a sarcastic comment. It might be listening fully, play to someone without planning your response. It might be spending 5 minutes in quiet reflection, directions before starting your day. Notice what happens when you make this choice. Notice how it feels in your body. Notice how it impacts your interactions, your stress levels, your overall sense of well-being. And as you practice, as you build this new muscle dream, imagine the person you could become if you fully embrace this. Imagine the relationships you could heal, the goals you could achieve, the impact you could have on the world around. You have within you the power to cycles of negativity, to heal deep-seated wounds, to inspire others through your example. And it all starts with silence, not the silence. What is depression or fear but the powerful, transformative silence of inner strength and wisdom? So go forth from here with this new understanding. Let your silence speak volume. Let it break down walls that anger never could. Let it create space for love, understanding, and personal growth to flower. Remember, in the moments when you feel most provoked, most tempted to react, that's when your silence is most powerful. That's when you have the opportunity to break through to a new level of being. Your journey starts now, in this moment, with each breath, each pause, each conscious choice to embrace silence. You're reshaping your life and your impact on the world around you. The power is in your hand, or rather, it's in your silence. Use it wisely. Use it often. And watch as it transforms not just your life, but the lives of everyone you touch. Thank you for embarking on this journey of self-discovery and empowerment. May your silence become your strength, your superpower, your path to a life of deeper meaning and fulfillment. The world is waiting for the unique gifts that only you, in your authentic silence, strength, and self, can offer